today we have a special gentleman that's visited us from Western Australia. He's got a passion for 3ABN and he's a very important person to bring radio to many places. His name is Bob Hardis. Bob, welcome to 3ABN Australia Radio.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Bob, you've travelled a long way to be here. And where do you come from?
I come from Busselton, Western Australia, which is 2.5 hours south of Perth on the coast of West Australia.
Well, how would you describe Busselton for our listeners that don't have the privilege of living there?
Just about as close to heaven as you can just about get. No, it's a beautiful part of the west coast. It's got a beautiful bay down there, which is beautiful white beaches, and we've been in there 30 years now, so it must be good for us to stay 30 years in one spot.
Very good. You've lived in other parts of Australia as well?
Only in the city, that's all, and out in the wheat belt for a little while.
So, Bob, you've got a passion for radio.
I've got a passion for radio, and for television, as Christian television, that people need to know that what the times in which we live, and I just love doing the job that I do.
So what do? You came across with a big four-wheel drive and a trailer, and you were saying that many times you would just drive and visit somebody that's out remote, out west, wherever?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I install the satellite dishes that pick up the television and the radio from Adelaide to Darwin, West Indian Ocean, and all stops in between. It's a great job that you can do to let people know that things aren't going as well as they should be on this world.
How did you first get involved with 3ABN?
Well, it must be, I'm just going to think now, 11 years ago. Mm-hmm. 11 years ago, John and Rosemary from 3ABN decided that us sort of semi-retired people should tag along with the caravans, and he was installing satellite dishes, and he said, why don't you three couples come along with us just for the ride? So we did, and we were away 3 months. Fabulous time.
Nice.
So we went from Perth across to Port Augusta, then all stops in between, and up to Three Ways. I don't even really know it's Three Ways. In the Northern Territory, across to Townsville, back down through Sydney.
So it gives you you're travelling with a purpose, and the purpose is to make available Christian satellite television. Our radio listeners may not know about that. What does that involve?
Well, we installed a satellite dish on the roof, and on the same little set-top box that we install, you can have the radio or you can have television. You don't want television on, you can just turn it on to radio, and you can have 3ABN radio in the background while you're working around the house. It's a brilliant concept.
And anyone in Australia can get this?
Anywhere in Australia and
New Zealand as well.
And New Zealand as well. It's a great concept because you don't always want to watch television during the day, but you can have the radio going in the background, which is
Christian television.
Christian television and Christian radio.
Christian radio. Wow, that's wonderful. And it's not just one channel. There are many channels that people can watch, and it's a wonderful concept to have Christian content available 24 hours a day.
Well, it's 24 hours a day, and it's free. Once you install it, it's a free concept, and all the Christian channels broadcast through the Optus D2 satellite. So if you've got a dish on the roof, you can just put a set-top box in, and you can pick up the Christian TV and radio.
And it picks it up via satellite.
The satellite signal comes down to this dish, and you send it down through a signal cable into your living room. And there it is.
How big is the satellite dish?
Well, they vary, but most of the ones we install are 80 centimetre ones, which is
that's diameter.
80 centimetre diameter dish, and you can have it on a tin roof or a tile roof, and it doesn't interfere with anybody. I like to install them at the back of the house because it doesn't affect the aesthetics of your premises. It doesn't, usually hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's fully installed, up and running,
and it's a one-off installation cost.
Yes.
But then there's no monthly contracts. There's no ongoing fees, and we encourage our listeners that are listening to the radio to support us, because supporters like our listeners, like our viewers, that like the content on 3ABN, they're the ones that actually donate, and it's 100% donor funded. Is that right?
That's right. And it's the concept is so great that if people support 3ABN on the radio with the gifts or the donations,
yep,
it keeps it running. And it's not supported by any mainstream church. So to me, the concept is brilliant.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how much you give. It's your spirit of giving that, to me, is what keeps this radio station going.
Wonderful. And the television as well. Now, how many years has 3ABN been operational?
Oh, I think it's been operational 30-odd years.
31, 32 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Incredible. It started in America, and then there was a base that was established here in Australia, and many people started getting 3ABN television and radio.
Yeah.
So it's been around for many years, and we thank God for that. And there are many people that have come to a fuller understanding of Jesus Christ. And if that's one of you, we encourage you to let us know, and we'll be very pleased to hear those stories. So, Bob, tell us what is involved in setting up a radio rebroadcasting station, because you have done this a number of times and a number of new licenses that you have purchased. How does that work?
You go onto the ACMA website and you can find out what, if you want a licence rebroadcast in a certain town, you look up the ACMA website and you see what frequencies are available. And you make an application to the ACMA, and it sort of goes to an auction. They have it 4 times a year, a 2-week period that you can apply for a licence. And then you can, if you get the licence, then you buy a transmitter and find some place to put it on, and an antenna and a satellite dish, and you bring the signal down and rebroadcast it out. And it's
on FM radio and
on
also
FM.
AM. We've got one or two AM stations in Western Australia.
Yeah, the one in Western Australia, it is absolutely brilliant, because the signal goes across to South Africa. So people don't realise that if you're near the ocean, you can't stop the signal bouncing across the ocean.
In fact, some of our listeners may not have heard this, so I'll share it again. Did you hear this? 2 people in Finland, people that are interested in radio, they picked up the signal in Finland from Western Australia.
That's amazing, because it's the other side of the world. And
from Finland to Australia.
I mean, it's amazing. It goes from Western Australia, which is the radio station's just about on the coast, only a few k's from the coast. But it's up a fairly high mast, and you can't stop the signal bouncing across the ocean waves. I mean, I've travelled back from South Australia and across Western Australia, and I can pick up the signal at night time, and you think, man, it's the signal, but go from Australia to Finland, that's an amazing feat. It
is, and they had some special, radio. They're amateur radio people that have some pretty cool equipment to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But so you've installed a number of FM licences, FM rebroadcasting stations in Western Australia, and chances are, if you're listening to one of those in Western Australia, it might be your one, Bob.
Well, we have a radio FM rebroadcast in East Busselton.
Okay.
We have one in Coarum up now, which is up and running. We have one in, if you're in the 2J area, in the 2J town site, that's up and running.
Mm-hmm.
We have one at the West 2J, which is about 10 kilometres west. That's up and running. We just got to tweak it a bit when we get home.
Yep.
And if you're in the Calabarin area in Western Australia, we have an 87.6 up there.
Uh-huh.
The one in 2J is 87.6. The one at West 2J is 87.8. The one in East Busselton is 88 FM.
Okay, so the on our website, Bob, we do have a list of our rebroadcasters. Now, that's not a complete list, because we're adding to that quite often, and this is a growing network. We have a lot of content that people want to get, and they can also stream online. So there's a place for FM and AM radios, but people that are out of those regions and have friends in other parts of Western Australia or New Zealand that don't have a local radio rebroadcaster, they can listen via the website. They can stream via the website, which opens up another whole area of people that don't need to be living in a town where there's an FM station.
Because the FM stations don't have the low-powered ones don't have a very big range, probably 5 to 10 kilometres range from where the base station is. It's good that people can drive past and they can have it on that sort of radio station.
Yeah.
So there's some more exciting things happening in Western Australia. Another four stations will be up and running by the end of September. So that's going to be really exciting for me and for the people that would like to listen to Christian radio. So.
Okay, so here's a challenge for our listeners that are listening to Christian radio 3ABN. And if you would like to let your neighbours know and let others in your community know, contact us via our website or via our phone number that I'll give you in a minute. And you can be involved in sharing radio in your town. There are ways of doing that. So I'll let people get a pen and paper and get the phone number soon. So, Bob, while they're doing that, tell us, are people responding to radio? Does it work?
Yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. I know of a few people that have come to know the Lord because of the radio. And as far as television, I installed a television set-top box in Port Lincoln probably 4 or 5 years ago, so that they've come to the Lord, and that to me was the biggest thrill of my life, that I put it in this home, and she rang a few months later and said that she'd come to the Lord, and so that encouraged me to keep going.
Absolutely. And people contact us quite often. We hear stories where people have tuned into the radio or tuned into 3ABN via the satellite or via the app, and have been able to obtain teaching and a Bible study that brings them closer to Jesus. Bob, I would like to give our phone number, and here's a special invitation to our listeners that would like to share 3ABN in their community. The phone number to call us on is 02 4973 3456. Again, 02 4973 3456. So, Bob, if there are listeners that say, wow, I would like to get Christian satellite television for free, one installation cost, they purchase a dish, satellite dish, and a set-top box, and get a professional installer, someone like you that has done this before, to install it, and then they can watch satellite television. If they live in Western Australia, can they contact you?
They can contact me. They can go to our webpage, or they can contact me through 3ABN Australia.
Yep.
It's quite simple. You can just go to 3ABN Australia and find the Western installer.
Yep.
We trade under Roglen, ROGLEN Satellite Systems.
Okay.
And we go from Adelaide to Darwin, west to the Indian Ocean.
So anyone that lives in that part of town, you wouldn't. I mean, you could drive several kilometres just to install it, but if there's a number of people that you can kind of do on the way, that's what you often do, right?
Oh, that's quite.
Set them all up and say, go visit here, and do like a tour.
Yeah.
But here's an invitation. If you would like to obtain Christian satellite television for free, there's no ongoing costs. It's a one-off installation cost. And contact us at 3ABN if you live in Australia, in Western Australia particularly, or South Australia, or if you have friends that want to gift it. Some people give this as a gift, don't they, Bob?
They do. Yeah. And it's a great way of sharing the gospel that people can. It's 24/7. So if you're a night owl and you don't go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, well, you can just tune in and it goes 24/7. Or listen to the radio 24/7. I know people that go to bed and have the radio going all night.
That's right. I shared this before, Bob, but some of our listeners may not have heard this, and I'll share this with you as well. And there was a lady that was in Queensland, and she was suffering from nightmares for many years. And she was tuning her radio and just listening what stations are available, and she came across 3ABN, and she was interested, and she began listening. And as she went to sleep, she would turn the radio on, just quietly turn it down so it's not, full volume, and fall asleep. And she had no more nightmares.
That's amazing, isn't it? We don't underestimate what God can do. If you want to listen to God's still small voice, it's a soothing thing that puts you to sleep, and you can get a good night's rest after that.
Definitely. We have, on the radio, we have children's programming, we have interviews, we have music, we have Bible teachings, we have question and answers, we have science conversations, we have practical healthy living courses, presentations. There's a whole varied bunch of programming.
So if you want to listen to something good that's going to uplift you, tune into 3ABN Radio, because I do that all the time because I've got the low-powered stations down where I live, so I'd have an 88 FM, which is a lot of the frequencies, and you can get some really good, helpful things to encourage you in this world. Okay,
so Bob, with the radio, maybe there are some listeners that have friends that live in another town, and maybe there's a Christian Read broadcaster there in that town. What frequencies on the FM dial, so they need to tune their radio to FM, what frequencies are available for Christian radio to be obtained? What are we talking about?
You can get an 87.6 frequency, or there's an 87.8 or an 88 frequency. They're the three frequencies on the low-powered open narrowcasting that the ACMA allocate.
Okay. There's a few licences outside of those regions that some stations are, one near Bundaberg, and that reaches on another frequency because they have got an arrangement with us. And there's another one in Warwick that has a different frequency, but most of the radios are tuned into, or the frequencies are tuned in from 87.6, 87.8 or 88 FM.
That's correct. And so all your car radios will pick up those stations. So it's quite simple.
And tune that in as a favourite in your town as you drive around. Tune it in as a favourite.
And then as you drive through some other towns, when we get ours up and running, we're going to have put signs out on the road where the council allows. So tune into this station, this frequency, and the licence that we've got will just about cover from one town to another.
Wow.
Not because they're not that far apart, so you can tune in from one to the other, and so you get a continuous same sort of broadcast all the way through, which is going to be terrific for people to listen to.
Look, and Christian radio is such a wonderful resource for people to learn more about the Bible, to be able to listen to quality content. There's many programs that will be helpful for children or for older people, younger people. We have a variety of different types of programming.
I'm getting a bit older in years, but I still like listening to the kids program on the radio, the kids stories. You can never stop learning stuff from some of these kids stories.
That's right. Bob, where was the first radio station that you got involved with?
I got involved with one in Busselton. We helped install that one, which was quite a challenge. I didn't climb up the mast.
Was it the AM one?
The AM, 1629 in Western Australia. If you're down and around the Busselton area, you'll pick up 1629 on your car radio.
So I'm speaking with Bob Hardis from Western Australia, who is a radio installer and also a satellite installer, who travels around. And if you would like to obtain more information, we invite you to visit our website, which is 3abnaustralia.org.au. Our PO box, if you'd like to write us a letter or send us a cheque to support what we do, it's PO Box 752, Morisset, New South Wales 2264. We send out a newsletter from time to time, and if our listeners would like to receive that newsletter, give us a call or send us a letter requesting that. And and we'll be able to share that with you. There are exciting things happening. We have a newsletter for radio as well that we send out via email. Our email address is radio@3abnaustralia.org.au. Bob, can you tell us what do you think is the future of Christian radio and Christian television in Australia? Is there a future?
I think there's a really bright future. I'm not knocking the commercial networks. They do probably a good job in what they do. Mm-hmm. But if you want to watch some good Christian stuff, the best way to go is have a satellite dish or live streaming or whatever other way, or you're on the computer, you can check it all out. Mm-hmm. But I just like watching stuff that's going to uplift me. It's some really good programs. It's not all about, some people like to think that you're pushing your religion, but it's not. There's so many health talks. The exercise programs, when we first put Christian satellite television in our place, we thought this would be really easy. Until we got on the third day, and we thought, well, some of these muscles we haven't used for quite a few years, and they're sort of locking up a bit. So we had to free them.
And it's encouraging when you see someone leading out in an exercise program on the television to actually do the exercises with them, because some people live at home alone, and they just need some encouragement to do some exercises as they can. And so, you know, some people do see an exercise program and that inspires them to get up off the couch and to join along in their home, or to go for a walk and take the radio with them.
I really enjoyed it until my muscles got sort of locked up a bit. Then I saw a program one day there that had it for the people that weren't so active, and they had the chair, so they still had the access. So it doesn't matter whether you're fit and young, or whether you're getting on in years, that you can still sit on your rocker or your chair and still do your exercise.
That's right. It's all important, isn't it?
It is important, and but radio is a thing that it doesn't intrude on anybody. You can have your radio with all these earphones on now, so you can listen to 3ABN radio anywhere. It's just amazing concept. It really is.
And via the satellite, Bob, you can tune in to other radio stations of 3ABN that I think you can get them on the satellite. That is 3ABN Latino. Can you get that on the satellite as well?
No, we only get 3ABN Australia and 3ABN International.
Okay, all right. But on the website, they can stream and they can get Russian radio. They can get Radio Latino, which is quite amazing.
It is for, the technology is changing so much nowadays, isn't it? What you could do 10 years ago, you can't. It's blowing your mind now. It's totally different to what you can get on the computers now.
So Bob, some people that have retired or semi-retired and are looking for a challenge, would you encourage them to see if they can get involved with radio and actually setting up a radio licence?
Oh, I think it's the best thing you can do. It's not hard to do. You just got to get the right equipment. And
do you need a lot of technical skills?
No, I'm not a tech head, but it's just common sense, really. If you get the right tools, and you don't have that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Okay.
And you can buy the equipment from the right places. There's ways of. I know 3ABN Radio know where to get all the right equipment from, the good equipment. Then you got to find a site to put it on. Sometimes you put a 6-metre mast up, and that's a bit of a challenge, but you need 2 or 3 people. But otherwise, you can, if it's only on if it's a pretty flat country, you don't need a big high antenna, because your antenna is about nearly 3 metres. So if you're on a fairly high roof, you don't need it very. But the minimum height really is probably a 3-metre mast.
Okay.
People can go up to 9 metres if they want to, but you've got a good substantial roof to put it on, to hold it down.
Yeah.
But it's a rewarding job when you get it up and running and it's all tweaking along nicely and the signal's going out, and you can sit back and say, well,
it's available.
It's available, and and spend some of your money and get this free ABN radio in every possible town.
Yeah.
I've got little towns of probably only 200 or 300 people.
And that will be available for that whole community?
The whole community, and the people that pass down the main highway, because the ones we've got to install when I get back are all down a main highway. So
wonderful.
So you can travel along the highway, you put on 87.6 and you can have that. It'll probably go 5 or 10 kilometres each side of that town.
Wonderful.
So it's and at night time it'll travel further, and the atmosphere makes a bit of difference. If it's a really clear day or it's a damp day, it could go 10 kilometres. Yeah, it's
kind of fun knowing that you're involved with getting Christian radio into a town that's available for everyone 24 hours a day.
Oh, it's
incredible.
It just goes 24 hours a day, and we had a problem with one, but we keep an eye on it, and the towns where we're going to install them, there's people that I know that travel up and down that road quite often, and if they ring, I just zip out there and fix it. Some of them 300 k's from home.
Our guest today is Bob Hardis, who's from Western Australia and has a passion for Christian radio and Christian television. Bob, you've mentioned that you can install satellite dishes for people at their home. Are you happy to share your phone number for people to give you a call if they're near your town, or if they want to plan to get this installed? Are you happy for us to give their phone number?
Yeah, you can give my phone number.
All right, what's your phone number, Bob?
And your
mobile number.
You could probably get me on mobile pretty well most times, or just leave a message, which is 0418 90 4010.
Your mobile phone number again, please?
0418 90 4010. Or you can email me. People do a lot of emails now, so you just email me.
Okay. What's your email address, please?
Number 2, BOB, 2bob, @westnet.com.au.
2bob@westnet.com.au. If you didn't get that, we often put our phone number and our contact details on 3ABN Radio Network. So contact us via 3ABN Australia, or we're happy to put you in touch with Mr. Bob Hardis, and he can help you get Christian satellite television, and also help you, if you're interested in radio, to be able to set that up. Bob, there are many people that are concerned about the world and the future that's going. And there are many people that are looking to the Christian Bible, the belief in God, to help with their concerns. Does Christian radio help in those kind of concerns?
It certainly does. Radio and television. If you'd come with me 10 years ago to some of the communities that I go to in the outback of Western Australia and South Australia, and you saw the lifestyle that they were living before, and since I've installed Christian satellite TV and radio, you can see the difference that makes to people's lives and to their communities. It's just amazing. You would probably wouldn't want to go to some of the places that I went to when I first started, but now it's a pleasure for me to go back and talk to the people that God has made a difference to. It's just, and if you want to come for a journey, just come for a ride with me, but you probably have to camp out, because I travel in a 4-wheel drive with the one bed in the back. That's for the driver.
Okay.
But this trip I've probably done 14,000 kilometres since I left home 4 weeks ago.
Wow! So you're on the road a lot, and you love it.
I wouldn't do anything else. If you want a retirement job, that's the best rewarding job in the world. You don't make a lot of money, which I don't. I've got no intentions of making a lot of money, but when you see the benefits of what Christian satellite radio and TV does, it's well worth it.
Yeah. And Bob, many people have their lives have been totally changed by the gospel, and that's available via radio and television. And it's incredible that he said a town is changed. You can meet people that have been listening to the radio station, and what responses do you get?
They are so excited about what that has done to their lives. there's many. I go to that many towns, that many people that I meet out in the outback, and in the bigger towns, in the cities. That when it goes down, they forget to ring me, and they say, "We haven't had it going for 4 or 5 months." I said, "Please don't let it go. Just ring me any time and just leave a message, and most times we can get it going over the phone. So I don't have to be there physically." But they say, "Oh, we miss it so much," and as soon as it's going again, it's so much joy that brings to the people's lives that they can have something that they enjoy.
So we encourage people to write this phone number down, stick it on your fridge. If you'd like a fridge magnet, we have a 3ABN fridge magnet available. So give us a call. You can obtain a fridge magnet, stick it on your fridge. If there's a problem with the satellite, or if there's a problem with your radio transmitter in your town, you can contact us at 3ABN, and we'll be happy to get that up and running. Our phone number again is 02 4973 3456. That's in Australia, and we have connections around Australia, New Zealand, parts of Papua New Guinea as well. Bob, what are the reasons that the radio, some of the main reasons that a radio transmitter may fail?
You could have a power surge.
Lightning strikes?
Lightning strike. I've never had a lightning strike yet, but sometimes the power could surge, or your power goes off, and sometimes a
power blackout, and then the transmitter resets or something?
The transmitter's normally okay because that's all the earth down to the ground.
Okay.
But sometimes the set-top box, which receives a signal from the satellite, has a malfunction.
Okay. It's a simple fix?
A simple fix. We had one last week in Western Australia, but it was up and running in 2 days, or less than that. If I had been home, it would have been up and running in a couple of hours.
Okay.
But normally we don't have a problem. We have good equipment. So it's very unusual for 3ABN radio to be off the air.
So it uses satellite technology to receive the signal from 3ABN offices or studios in New South Wales, in Morisset, which is quite fascinating. The first time I really realised what happens, there's a satellite network around the world, and we receive content from America via satellite. We insert Australian content into that feed and then rebroadcast that via our FM network and AM network. It's quite amazing, isn't it, Bob? When you think about it, it's like using satellite technology to beam the signal way up into the sky to then transmit across Australia, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea and the islands, some of those places in the South Pacific. Quite incredible, isn't it?
To see the signal come from America and it comes down into your home with no delay when it's a live broadcast from America, or from over in the Morisset, you get that signal and there's no delay, and it just comes down. You wonder how it comes out the sky. It hits this 80-centimetre dish, which hits the LMB, and then it comes down through a cable into your set-top box and comes out through your television or your radio. It's just
amazing.
It's amazing the way things. You can't imagine how a set radio, someone talking in one part of the world, can pick up the same voice simultaneously as what he's talking.
It's absolutely incredible. Bob, what's your favourite song? Do you have a favourite song that would see if we can play it for our listeners?
Jesus, Keep Me Near the Cross. I think I just love that one because it's. I have a CD playing when I travel around, and sometimes it goes 2 weeks in a row, the same CD. So I get to know the song. And on this trip, I thought I'd put some good Christian gospel music in. And when I got 100 kilometres from home, all the discs were still in my CD player at home. But, so I had to buy a few more. But that's okay. I just love listening to some good Christian music as I travel. And people ask me, do I get lonely? I said, no, I don't get lonely. Because it's God and I, not me and God. God and I, we travel together. I can talk to God all day long.
Beautiful.
I can tell him all my problems. Then I sit and listen. And I can travel way out in the outback, and I never ever get lonely. I never get lonely. It's just you. If you travel and do things for God, you should never be lonely.
You're on a mission.
I'm on a mission, but it's God's mission. And the work that I do, I don't do it for my glory.
Yeah.
I do it for the glory of God. And if I do it for the glory of God, I'm just, as the old saying goes, I'm happy as a pig in mud because I love doing what I'm doing.
And it gives you purpose, Bob, and I can see that in your face. I can see that in your life, that you have got purpose, and it brings you joy to be able to share with others Christian radio, Christian television that makes a difference in people's lives, changing lives around the world, changing lives in Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, this region of the world, and also available around the world. People living anywhere in Australia, anywhere in New Zealand can download a free app on their smartphone and watch Christian television.
It's just amazing. Incredible. You cannot do the job that I do and not have a passion for it, because you see lives that change, and you see, I mean, I've got the best job in the world. Everyone thinks they've got the best job in the world, but I've got the best job in the world. Not the best paying job, but the best job in the world.
Yeah.
I travel to places that you would never go as a tourist.
Yeah.
I've got a four-wheel drive that God's looked after.
Yep.
He keeps it going.
Yeah.
And I just cruise out the outback. And wherever God wants me to go, I've had someone, when I was in South Australia, do you come to Victoria? Well, I can cruise down to Victoria, and I'll do that. Picked up my satellite radio transmitters to get them going, and then I just...
So, Bob, you would be willing to travel to a place in Western Australia if someone's got a friend listening that say, hey, they would benefit from Christian satellite television. We'll gift a gift of a set-top box, a satellite dish, and an installation, a one-off cost that they can put on their home. Would you be willing to drive to their home and install it?
I've done that many times.
All right. If
many times, doesn't matter where you live, if you're prepared to wait a little while so that I can get a few more people on the way.
Yep.
I've done that. I've gone. You put yourself out in God's care.
And looks after you.
And God looks after you.
Now, Bob, I'm going to give our phone number again. If people really want to obtain Christian television for a friend or a family member, or to gift it to a community, please give us a call, contact 3ABN Australia, let them know you heard this interview with Bob Hardis, and we'll make sure that happens. Our phone number is 024973 3456. If you live in New Zealand, we've got New Zealand contacts that can do the same thing. And there's Christian content on the television there that we know of, Christian content via many of the FM rebroadcasters in New Zealand. If you go to our website and go to radio, we've got a list of growing radio stations there. Not all of them are listed there because we're adding to that list all the time. So our website is 3abnaustralia.org.au. And you'll be able to find that. Bob, we're going to play a song now, if we can find it. We're going to play the song. What's the song called?
Jesus, Keep Me Near the Cross.
Jesus, keep me near the cross. There a precious fountain, free to all, a healing stream flows from Calvary's mountain. Near the cross a trembling soul, love and mercy found me. There the bright and morning star sheds its beams around me. In the cross, in the Rest beyond the river.
You heard Jesus Keep Me Near the Cross, sung by Andrew McLeod. Bob, tell us about the story where you got a phone call one day from a community in remote Western Australia. What happened?
Well, I was at the community probably west of that, 350 kilometres west of that, and this elder in that community said he wanted a Christian satellite in that community.
Okay.
So I had to, in the community where I was staying, they'd burnt the house down of the CEO, so we had to go and pick up some parts at the next community, which is 350 kilometres away. On a gravel road, it's not real super highway road.
So you're driving along the gravel road?
And I got to that community, but unfortunately there was a funeral in that community, so there was nobody there. Oh. So we picked up the gear and went back, and I'd finished in that community. I said, look, I'll go back to my home down in Busselton. Mm-hmm. So then the elder come to that community 3 days later and said, where's Bob? He said, he's gone home. He went out there, nobody there. But I want Christian Satellite, he said. So we said to him, well, Bob said he'd be home in about a week. So in a week's time, give him a ring. So he rang me in a week's time and he told me he wanted a Christian Satellite. I said, yeah, I'll come and do that for you. He said, how many houses you got? He said, I've got 15 houses.
They want 15 houses in that community to have Christian Satellite.
That's right.
That's incredible.
So then, so I planned to go up that way, and I said, well, so I went right up to the Kimberley, and then I come back. So when I got to Port Hedland, I rang him and said, I'll be there in a couple of days, Bobby. And he said, I said, how many houses you got there, Bobby? He said, 20. So I thought, you always take plenty of gear with you.
So when you travel with all the gear that you need to set up a satellite system at home.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyhow, I headed out there, had to do some work at the community before. Mm-hmm. So I finished that work and I just said to him, look, I'm going to the next community now. So I didn't ring him. I just went 350 k's, and there's no stops in between. There's nothing in between. Uh-huh. There's
drive.
There's a place called Jupiter's Well, which is a little old hand pump that you can pump water out the ground. It's just amazing. Uh-huh. And I just drove out there, and I got there just before dark, and then the chairman in charge of that community come out. He met me at the road 7 kilometres down.
Wow. Very keen.
He was keen. So he said, I went up to his house. He said, follow me, Bob. So I went up to his house. He said, this is late November. It was hot. So I got up there about just before dark. He said, you can start now if you like. I said, okay, Bobby, I've just come 350 kilometres, but that's okay. So, and he told me what he wanted done. He wanted in 3 different rooms and 2 different set-top boxes so he could watch it in 2 different rooms. Mm. So I said, okay. He said, what about accommodation? He said, I'll go and check the accommodation because they're supposed to have air conditioner donga for me to stay in. So I worked about 8 o'clock at night up on the roof with my headlight on to install his Christian Satellite. And he come back and he said, there's all the accommodation's booked, but I saw the CEO and they've got a spare bedroom, air conditioner. I said, that was nice. So the next morning we started. I got up because it was November, so it's really hot out there. So the next morning I started at 4:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, 4:30 in the morning, got up and got started because they all sleep outside on the ground, sleep outside. But so I worked all day to about 7 o'clock at night. And
wow.
So the next day I got up and done the same thing. And then the last day I was there, I said, Bobby, how many houses have you got here? It started off at 15, then it got to 20. He said, there's 25 houses there. But he said, there's 4 other people that really should have Christian Satellite. There was the nurse, and there was the store manager's house, and then the CEO's house, and then the nurse's coordinator. So now being 29 houses.
29 houses have Christian television.
In that community, the whole community. There's only one house that never had it.
So these people have access to gospel Christian television.
Yeah, in their home. 24
hours a day in their home, no ongoing costs.
No.
If they want to support 3ABN, we encourage that, and we would invite people that are watching and listening to Christian television to support us so we can continue doing that. But basically the whole town,
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
And the community paid for, not the individual, but the whole community.
Chipped in.
No, the whole community in their allocation of money, they decided they want Christian satellite in that community. So the whole community, the main office or their allocation for money was donated to put that whole Christian. And I've had other communities where half the houses have got Christian satellite. It's
wonderful.
You just go, and when I go back to their communities again, there's always someone else that wants Christian satellite.
Because it's good quality material.
Oh, you couldn't get anything better to listen to or watch. And I just encourage them, if you don't want to watch the television, you can press a button on your remote control of the set-top box and
switch
get a
radio. And then you get music. There's a number of music programs on 3ABN radio, and that is musical meditations from America with Jay Christian. There's songs of praise. There's daily insights. There's melodies from my heart. There's Gay the Music, Homecoming Radio. There's a number of different radio programs, and there's a 24-hour radio channel that's available via the website. So via the app, people can listen to music 24 hours a day. So there's a lot of content via television, satellite television and satellite radio that people can be blessed, and they don't need to get bad influences in their home. So if there's a young family that's listening, or an elderly couple or an elderly person that would like to watch Christian content or gift that to somebody else, if you live in a town where there is Christian radio and you know somebody that's living in a place that there is no Christian radio, gift them a satellite system. It doesn't cost much, and if you live in Western Australia or other parts of Australia, we have installers that we can put you in touch with them, and they'll be happy to do that. And Bob, your stories of driving many kilometres to be able to do this to a whole town is exciting.
Yeah, I was in a big community in the APY lands, and
Where's that?
In the northwest corner. It borders on the Northern Territory, and the Western Australia and South Australia, in the northwest corner of South Australia.
Okay.
I was in that community doing Christian satellite, and it was 7 o'clock at night in a winter's night, and I had a knock on my window underneath the street light, writing down who had Christian satellite. And this Aboriginal elder come up to me and said, "Bob, I want Christian satellite in my home." I said, "Come around in the morning." He said, "Oh, no, can't come around in the morning. Come around now. Follow me around. This is 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. The time doesn't worry me out there. If they need it, I'll come around and see him."
Wow.
So he said, "Come around." He said, told me what he wanted. One system in this room and one set-top box in that room, and one in my bedroom. So I said to him, "You up early in the morning?" "Yeah, I'm up early in the morning." So it was winter time, so it was 7 o'clock out there. I was on his roof, and he comes out. "So you up early?" I said, "Yeah, I'm up early. I'll get your job done."
Wow.
But he said to me then, that's 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 7 years ago now. He said, "We're sick of the pornographic and violence in our community. We want some good Christian stuff for our young people and for the older. We want some good Christian stuff in our community." And that really encouraged me to say, we need to get out there and put it out so that people can have it. And a lot of people really don't know that there's radio available on the satellite.
So there are some people that you may have friends, or our listeners may know of people that have Christian satellite, and they just think it's a television programs, but there is also a radio button. So if they on their remote control, if they press radio and then rescan, they can get radio as well. And sometimes they're different programming. So if there's a repeat, and why do we repeat programs, Bob? Why on the radio are there many programs that are repeated, and on the television many programs repeated?
Well, sometimes we sleep, don't we?
We sleep.
Sometimes we sleep, and sometimes you might just get the tail end of a program, and you think, "Well, I'll listen to that again." So you can get a program guide, and then you can say, "Oh, well, it's on at 8 o'clock at night, or wherever you live, or 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm home. I can listen. I can retune it, listen again." And I've done that many times at home. I've got halfway through a program. I thought, I really enjoyed that program, and I thought, I'll better check on to see when it's on again, because then I can get all the content of the program instead of just part of the program. And a lot of set-top boxes mightn't have TV radio, but they might have a music note. If you press a music note, it will go onto radio. Depends on what type of set-top box you got.
Okay.
All the latest ones that I've seen around have got TV radio. So if it's on TV, and I have people that ring up and say, I've only got a blue screen. I don't know what's going on. I can't get any picture. I said, well, you've probably got it on radio, and it's not hard. I just tell them which button to press and have a look on their set-top box remote and say, oh, that's just put on the radio if I listen to the radio. Mm-hmm. And we said, we don't want TV all day, or going all day, but I said, why not just have the radio going in the background, so as you're walking around the house, you can have something that's going to be something worth listening to.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And there are new technologies, Bob, and we said there's satellite technology, but there's also internet. And if people have fast, high-speed internet, there's MySDA TV set-top boxes and internet set-top boxes that people can get many Christian stations, Christian outlets, all in one box, which is quite exciting. So if you have an interest in Christian television and Christian radio, we invite you to contact 3ABN Australia. We're speaking with Bob Hardis, who has many years' experience. How many years' experience, Bob, do you have?
It's probably 11. Getting on towards 11 now.
11 years' experience installing satellite systems in people's homes and installing community radio stations in many parts of Western Australia. And if you'd like to contact Bob, what's your mobile phone number again?
0418 904010. That's 0418 904010. And if you don't get me, it's probably because I'm on the roof or in the ceiling, but please leave a message, because when I get finish an installation, I always check before I move to the next place, I always check my messages or missed calls, and I'll return the call. Just leave a short message, and it won't cost you nothing, because then I'll return the call.
Lovely.
And if you do have a problem with your set-top box, just do the same thing, or your satellite's not working, just do the same thing. Just leave a message and I'll return the call.
Wonderful. Bob, we appreciate what you do for spreading the gospel through Christian media, through Christian television, Christian radio. We're so thankful, Bob, that we got a chance to speak with you. Bob, just before we go, how important is prayer in your life?
You cannot survive without prayer. I don't care who people think they are, but prayer is the key to doing anything for God, or anything for anything. If you want to succeed in life, if your prayer life's good.
Does God help you from day to day?
He's an awesome God. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, God's. When I travel, I talk to God all day long. I can tell him all my problems. I can tell him all my joys. Then I can sit back and just listen. Because we can talk to God, but if we don't have an ear to listen to see what he's going to respond to, I find he's the most awesome person to work for.
Wonderful.
He's the best. If you have financial problems, he's the best treasurer, because he owns everything.
He does.
And I just love the work I do, and I love my God.
Absolutely. Bob, we encourage our listeners to contact us to find out more information about what we've spoken about. Our guest today has been Bob Hardis from Western Australia, Busselton, but on the road quite a lot. Bob, thank you for stopping by and speaking with us. We wish you God's blessing as you continue to take the gospel to the world.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, God bless you, and tune in next time for another Life Learnings on 3ABN Radio Network. You've been listening to a production of 3ABN Australia Radio.